show kicked off with the Miz's music playing.
Yes.
And we were introduced to Miz TV. But instead of it being Miz TV, we had R-Truth and the newly brown-haired Carmella.
Yeah. Which I did like. I like her hair.
Yeah, it looks nice. It makes her look different than the 1,000 blonde wrestlers that there are.
It's a shame it didn't last long.
Huh?
Oh, you didn't know?
Wait, what are you talking about?
Her hair. It was Carmella's.
Yeah.
It was blonde after SmackDown when they're doing comments for the Mixed Match Challenge.
Was it?
Yeah. Her and Truth are in the back doing comments, and her hair's blonde again.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. So it lasted for just literally that one segment.
Huh. Well, R-Truth and Carmella are in the ring, and R-Truth introduces us to Truth TV.
Which is awesome.
And his first guest is Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan was so perfect in this because
yeah,
he genuinely looked like he was just having so much fun.
Well, he looked like he really didn't know what was going on.
It felt like Talking Smack Daniel Bryan almost, where he's just like relaxed and just
chilled.
Yeah. So Truth asks Daniel Bryan a question, but then he's interrupted by a 7-second dance break.
Yes.
And they hit the music, and Carmella and R-Truth just start dancing.
Now, is that like his version of the 5-second pose?
I don't know. I think it was just something goofy to have in his show. R-Truth did say that there was supposed to be some sort of animal segment, too.
Yeah.
So...
You gotta love Truth.
Yeah, so Miz eventually interrupts and just is furious about Truth stealing his show. And the line of the night, man, R-Truth just says, well, 2 weeks ago I beat you, and if you had a title, I would have won that. But since you didn't have a title, I just took your show instead.
Yeah, that was the greatest line of the night.
And then Miz just goes, you're an idiot. And Truth is just like, I'm an idiot with the talk show.
Yeah.
And Miz goes to the back with Paige right behind the curtain, and this seems just so childish that Miz was just like, I want my TV show back.
Yeah.
And Truth told him before that, well, hey, if you want your show, I'll fight you for it.
Yeah.
And Miz tries to get Paige to give Miz his show back, and Paige was just like, hey, he told you if you want it, go fight him for it.
Yeah.
Paige is awesome
I love Paige.
as GM.
She's an awesome GM.
She has authority about her, which is nice.
Yeah.
And so Miz decides to come back out and have the match. And Daniel Bryan was on commentary for the match.
Yeah. No big deal.
I think they were interrupted by another 7-second dance break before the match started.
Yes.
And as Corey Graves put it, Carmella was flossing like it was Fortnite. Which was humorous. So Daniel Bryan's on commentary for the match. I thought Bryan on commentary was pretty fun with the back and forth he had with Corey Graves.
Yeah.
And he basically just said like anything that most fans probably think when they hear Corey Graves just blindly side with the heels.
All the time.
And it was funny when Miz starts doing the yes kicks. Corey Graves doesn't say anything, but Bryan was just like, oh, these are those world-famous it kicks you're always talking about.
Yeah, he won't say nothing when Bryan's sitting right there.
Yeah, he didn't... I actually like that, because it just makes Corey Graves seem so much more, like, slimier and more heelish that he says all that when Bryan's not there, but then when Bryan's there, he doesn't want to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that.
It was good.
So, Miz eventually hits a skull-crushing finale on Truth, and basically has the match won at that point. But he stares down Daniel Bryan. He gets in the corner. He starts doing the whole pointing to the air, doing the yes chants, and sets up for Daniel Bryan's running knee to finish Truth. And Daniel Bryan tried to get in the ring, but The Miz backs off and goes to the back. So, pretty good opener, I thought. Some fun stuff with R-Truth and Carmella.
And I love Truth. I'm glad they're using them on TV again.
Yeah, it's funny how Carmella just went from this heel character champion to the babyface along with R-Truth.
I like her with R-Truth.
I do. It's the first time in a while that I've really enjoyed Carmella.
Yeah.
And I think that this can bring out a lot of sort of personality and things that we didn't see from Carmella before.
Yeah, so, I like new hair. I loved it. I love her with Truth. It's a perfect team.
Yeah. Well, I haven't watched the Mixed Match Challenge with them yet, but I'm sure they had some funny stuff in their match or anything.
I haven't seen their match yet. I just saw them doing comments backstage.
So they cut to a Charlotte photo shoot from earlier in the day.
Oh, yes.
And it is interrupted by Becky Lynch blindsiding her. And
whooping that lass.
Yes. And Becky beats her down. And my favorite part of this was just like, she's demanding that the photographers take pictures of the champ.
Yeah.
And she puts her foot over top of Charlotte and holds the title up and just says, great. You're going to want to get a picture of this.
That was perfect.
Good stuff from Becky. And after that, we had The Bar and The New Day, who are going to be facing off at Super Showdown. So the WWE copy and paste formula is
singles match.
A singles match with two of the people on the team. Yep. And we had Cesaro versus Big E. The New Day's promo on The Bar.
Sheamus versus Big E.
I'm sorry, yes, Sheamus versus Big E.
I've never seen a Cesaro wrestling blue jeans.
You're right. That was my fault. But Sheamus versus Big E. But before that, we had the New Day promo where they said they were going to try to say something nice about The Bar. And they proceeded to make fun of Cesaro's nipples. And wonder if the carpet matches the drapes with Sheamus.
Yeah.
New Day's thing is getting kind of old for me.
Honestly, I'm getting tired of both these teams.
Like, there's a healthy balance, and I'm not sure where the line is with the New Day's comedy. Because sometimes I find it annoying, and sometimes it's perfect. This felt more on the annoying side.
Yeah.
I don't know why they got to keep making fun of Cesaro's nipples. Like, I don't get that.
It'd be different if we had 3 of them.
But we had Big E versus Sheamus.
Are you sure?
I even wrote Big E versus Cesaro in my notes.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what I was watching. Because
I don't either. A couple weeks ago, maybe?
So, Big E hit a splash on Cesaro on the apron, which led into the commercial. And as they're going to commercial, Big E is smelling pancakes like it gives him some sort of superpower.
Like the Undertaker in his urn.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And Sheamus later on would go for a brogue kick, but E catches him in a power bomb. And if that would be a near fall.
If you notice that power bomb, it kind of looked a little botched.
It looked he had a little trouble getting him up.
And then the landing.
Well, he landed on his knees instead of in a sit-out position.
Yeah, which you could see Sheamus land on his lower back, not his shoulders.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Because, normally they land on their shoulders.
Yeah, you always want to land on your shoulders.
He ended up hitting lower back first.
So Big E would go for the big ending, but Sheamus held on to the ropes. And E was forced to drop him. Sheamus hits the brogue kick. And this is 2 weeks in a row now that the Bar have singles wins over New Day members. which surely means that they're going to lose at Super Showdown because 50-50.
I just didn't really care about this one. I'm tired of seeing these two teams go at it.
The thing is that when the bell rings and we get to the actual match, I'm sure it's going to be good. Because the two teams are just too talented, and they'll make it work. But I'm not excited to see the match.
It's just another, to me, it's just the same match we see every month at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, there's nothing that really feels special about it or anything like that.
Yeah, even if it's for the title, it's nothing special. Not anymore. Not with, maybe it's just these two teams. It might just be the New Day or the Bar, but I'm just tired of seeing the same thing.
Right. And for our next segment, we're going to have to do a little recapping because we had Rusev and Lana out next, which this is going to be one of my favorite things on the show, probably my favorite, but we'll get to the Samoa Joe and AJ Styles later, which was pretty fun. But last week, we had Aiden English and Rusev and Lana backstage, and Rusev is having a United States title match against Shinsuke Nakamura later on, and Rusev says to Aiden that he's confident because Aiden won't be in the match to cost him it, like he supposedly did at Hell in a Cell in their tag team title match. And, that Rusev and Lana walk off, and then Aiden, luckily there was just this production crew guy that Aiden could just vent to, and that he says it's all Lana's fault. She ruined everything. Mm-hmm. And the production guy is just kind of like pointing behind English, and Lana's right there. And then it's just like, oh, but please don't tell Rusev. And she tries to go tell Rusev, but Rusev is trying to focus on his match with Nakamura, and he just says, well, it can wait until after.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Rusev just turns to English and he goes, will you do the honors? And English just smiles and, oh, that'd be my pleasure. And he goes out and for the last time introduces Rusev on this Rusev Day. And Nakamura and Rusev have the title match. And at some point, Rusev is setting up for the Machka kick. He's getting ready. And English just jumps on the apron and just goes, Rusev crush, into the mic. And Rusev just kind of looks at him like, what are you doing, dude? And that's when Nakamura comes in from behind and gets the roll-up. And after that, Rusev is in the ring. And Aiden English symbolically hits Rusev with the microphone and beats him with it. It's kind of symbolic because that mic and Aiden English is just what's kind of made Rusev into this character.
But if you notice that when he was beating Rusev, the W came off the microphone.
Well, they have the specially made mic where it says Happy Rusev Day.
Yeah.
And that's what came off everything. Yeah, so it was just the microphone with no logos on it by the end.
It was just weird to see all the logos on the mat.
And Lana is standing in the corner, not just looking distraught. And English, after the beatdown, just gets up and says, Happy Rusev Day. And then he leaves.
Yep.
And before we get to the segment, I wanted to get your thoughts on what was your initial thoughts when Rusev Day did officially split in that segment?
A part of me wants to say it's about time.
Really?
Just, they don't seem like the type of team that's going to stick around, like the New Day for years.
Okay.
But, I mean, they're good together. I don't see them sticking around much longer. And I think they do better, at least Rusev would do better singles.
Right. So, where I went with this when it happened was, in execution, this whole thing was great. Everyone did a great job of portraying their characters and the splits, and it was written well. Everything was good in execution, but what I felt it lacked was that Rusev Day, as long as they were together a full year to the day, and they didn't really do a whole lot in that time. There weren't any title wins. There weren't any big things that they did. They were just together, and the crowd was behind them. And even then, it took so long for them to turn face because they were portrayed as heels for so long.
Oh, yeah.
But I felt like this segment and this turn would have meant so much more if you just had more build to the friendship that Aiden and Rusev have, and just even being champions for a little bit, and then having this would be more effective because they've been so inseparable, and nobody would see it coming. But in this case, it was more like it was just a matter of time, and as much as we didn't want it to end, we knew it was going to. So that would bring us to this week, though, where Rusev and Lana come out, and Rusev just wants to know why Aiden English did it.
Yeah.
So Aiden comes out, he comes to the ramp, and Aiden was so good in this promo in that he set everything up perfectly, and he says, that before Aiden came along into Rusev lacked direction, and nobody cared about him. And until Lana came into the fold, they were perfect. But Lana ruined it all.
And I agree to a certain extent. I mean, nobody really cared about Rusev until Aiden started doing the Rusev Day song.
Yeah, that's what really got Rusev over more than anything.
Yeah.
And it's good heel logic, too, for him to take credit for that and be justified in it.
Oh, yeah.
So, Aiden was also really good because he's getting to the main point of this promo, and, the crowd is just going crazy throughout this, and they start chanting, Lana is the best, Lana number one, and Aiden is trying to get to the go home point, but he knows that he can't just say that with the crowd chanting so loud. So he kind of cools it off, and he goes, Lana is the best, and Lana is always honest. And that's why Lana was going to tell Rusev about what I said about her last week. And he says, but I got to ask, if you're always so honest, are you ever going to tell Rusev about that one night in Milwaukee?
Yes.
And the crowd collectively goes, oh. There was even a holy shit chant by a portion of this crowd. And
the only one of the night, I think.
Yeah. And it was such this is perfect drama that I feel like we miss a lot in wrestling, and it fits so well in here. And, you have Rusev, who's like, well, I mean, obviously I don't want to believe him, but when were we in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
And they did that backstage segment later. But, good stuff from Aiden. I do think that this should be a fun storyline.
I think it will be.
But my only concern is what we do with Aiden after this. Because Aiden was in my opinion, the perfect role for him, being alongside Rusev. And I question whether or not he'll be in any sort of role when the dust settles in this.
Well, they could have it to where they end up being friends after all this is done. Maybe something comes out where Lana's behind it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But
because honestly, Lana doesn't really help Rusev anymore.
No, not like she did before.
Aiden is there. Lana needs to step aside and do her thing in the ring. Let Rusev have his moment. She needs to worry about herself. Aiden just, to me, is a better sidekick out there than Lana is.
Yeah. And I don't really expect that Aiden will get much of a push post Rusev, which would be unfortunate because Aiden has proven that he's very talented in multiple ways. Because not just as a wrestler, he he just understands drama so well,
Yeah.
and he has that Shakespearean sort of thing that he does.
But he doesn't have the look to be a champion.
He doesn't, and that's why I think this role was so perfect for him, because he didn't have to be a champion.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been a tag champion just fine.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he needs. He needs to be a tag champ. Don't worry about being singles. He can't cut it as a singles. We've seen that. He just doesn't have the knowledge, the moveset, the skills.
I think it's largely the look, honestly.
That could be a big part of it. It's just he's not big and muscular. He's not dark and tan.
Yeah.
He doesn't have much hair anymore.
Yeah. So hopefully Aiden finds some sort of role, and maybe he can pair up with someone else eventually, because it would be a shame if Aiden just sort of flattens out after all this.
Yeah.
So after this, when we come back from commercial, we have Rusev and Lana backstage, and Lana's just like, you trust me, don't you? And Rusev's just like, of course, but he looks unsure. And Becky Lynch comes in and adds some fuel to the flames on this.
Yeah.
And Lana tells her to mind her own business, as Becky is just like, Milwaukee, huh? And when Lana tells her to mind her own business, Becky says, I run the women's division, and that's where you claim to compete in. So it is my business.
Yeah.
And that she sets up for a match later with Lana and says that Rusev will have to carry Lana's bags for her after she breaks her arm.
Yep. Good little segment for Becky.
And after Becky walks away, Rusev just goes, when was the last time we were in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
And Lana angrily walks away.
Did something happen? Are we going to see another John Cena, AJ Lee scandal?
It'll be interesting to see where we go from there. And we'll get to the segment later with Aiden English. But up next, we had the Iconics in the ring.
Yeah.
And they're about to cut a promo. But Naomi's music and proceedingly Asuka's music cut them off.
Thank God.
And we were not here for me to rant about this pairing about Asuka and Naomi when it happens.
Oh, yeah.
But a few weeks ago, they had Asuka and Naomi just pair together in a after Asuka saved Naomi, they had like an interview, and they just had like Naomi says something about feel the glow, and Asuka was like, oh, I go. And Asuka said something in Japanese, and Naomi thought she said teriyaki. And she was like, oh, you like teriyaki? Let's go get some food. And Asuka's just like, oh, I like food.
Yeah.
Because you see Asuka no speak English very good.
Yeah.
Ha, ha, ha.
When it's convenient for her, she don't speak English.
This was such a mind-numbingly dumb way of pairing these two, and I could not possibly care. Asuka has been ruined, and it's such a shame.
And she hasn't done anything since she debuted on the main roster.
Well, they protected her, and they protected the streak
for a minute
until WrestleMania, where Charlotte beat her.
Ever since.
And after that, she's just done nothing.
Yeah.
And that win for Charlotte ultimately meant nothing.
Yeah.
It was just stupid. But I've had enough rants for the day. I can't go on about Asuka because it just hurts me too much.
Well, no one talks about her streak ending like The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak.
No, it didn't mean anywhere near that much.
And it should have.
That's unfortunate. So we get shown a WWE.com clip earlier of Naomi and Asuka. And Asuka is like saying that she likes Naomi's hair.
Yeah.
And then Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose come up and make fun of them. And that's what set up this match with the Iconics on commentary, which
sucked.
Really? I love the Iconics, man.
I can't stand them.
I love the Iconics.
I don't know why. It might just be their squeaky voices. I just do not like them. I can't wait I wish the power would have went out when they got on the mic.
I thought it was hilarious when they did the Byron Saxton impression.
Oh, I skipped it. I skipped. I had to. I cannot stand their voice. And it's not both of them. It's Billy Kay's voice. Peyton Royce is okay. Billy Kay's voice, I cannot stand. I swear to God, I don't want to put her in a blender.
The Iconics are so fun.
To each his own, but not to me.
So, Asuka and Naomi win a short match. I did not make a single note about this match.
The only note I made was it wasn't much of a match anyway.
Yeah, so...
After ranting about the Iconics being up there.
Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville don't really have much. They lose quickly.
But I do like... I like the team Mandy and Sonya.
I like Sonya Deville a lot. And I feel like she's one of the more underrated wrestlers right now.
But I think she's more helping Mandy get on her feet than anything.
Yeah, I'm sure Mandy will be the one that gets pushed because she's blonde.
Mm-hmm.
All the blondes get pushed.
Well, she's got the looks. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sonya Deville's hot, but she doesn't flaunt it like Mandy Rose.
Yeah, and that's... I wish it was more just about wrestling, but it's never going to be that way.
It never has been.
But, whatever. We move on to Tye Dillinger versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Which I don't get this match at all.
Like, as in why it took place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Tye hasn't been seen for weeks.
Well, we see him
months, maybe.
Following Truth.
Yeah, aside from following our Truth. And then Tye Dillinger doesn't even get to be in the Truth TV segments.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's funny, actually. I didn't even think about that at the time.
I didn't either.
But, Tye versus Nakamura, this match didn't go long until Tye gets in the corner on top of Nakamura and starts doing the punches. And out of nowhere, in comes Randy Orton.
Why is it that Randy Orton only interferes with
Nakamura matches?
Shinsuke's matches?
That's a funny thing.
But he didn't do it last week with Rusev.
It's weird that I think it's more coincidental than anything that he just so happens to be interfering in Nakamura's matches. But if they revealed it at the end that they're working together, then it would be something. But I don't think that's where they're going.
I was thinking maybe he doesn't want anybody else to go after Nakamura's title, except for him. So he's going to try and take out everybody who's going after it.
Well, I think Orton's character is more right now centered on just taking out people that the fans like.
Yeah, that could be too.
And
but we like Rusev. What happened last week?
Yeah. And they did the segment last week that I do want to touch on where Randy Orton was in the production truck and he was forcing the guy to play the photos of
his finger in Jeff Hardy's ear
and the screwdriver in Jeff Hardy's ear. And he's like massaging the dude's shoulders as he's doing this.
Well, I guess that's better than what he's known for.
I was going to say that because of the allegations that happened with Orton, this segment felt particularly uncomfortable.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd rather see him rub someone's shoulders than what he is accused of doing.
Yeah. And
I'm sure that guy was happy about it too.
I'm not going to cover what actually is alleged. All I'll tell you is that a former writer said that Randy Orton does some things to new writers
for initiation
in a hazing sort of way. If you want more information, you can Google it.
Yeah, they'll Google it. They'll find it. It made the news. I mean,
but that allegation made that segment feel uncomfortable. But it was a really good segment in spite of that.
Yeah, it was.
And, in that segment, he just says that he's going to find his next victim. And he comes out and he beats down Tye. And nobody is as good as I had a beatdown as Randy Orton.
Oh, no. He's the best.
Stomps away on Tye. Does like a back suplex where he just throws him onto the announcer's table. Does the draping DDT from the apron to the floor.
Which is always awesome looking.
And then for good measure, Shinsuke just decided to Kinshasa him into the LED board.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what's the point?
just for good measure.
Like, he's down. He ain't getting up.
And later on in the show, Randy would have, I think when they came back from commercial after this, Randy Orton was interviewed, and the guy asks him, I think it was Mike Rome, I guess, asks him, is Tye Dillinger the next victim? And Randy just goes, no, I think what it boils down to is that perfect 10 crap just pisses me off. And this was just so pro wrestling that your beatings, you beat someone up because this perfect 10 crap pisses me off.
Like old school days.
I liked this. Orton is great in this role.
He's a perfect heel.
It's been too long since we've gotten the nice heel Randy Orton that we've been covered with this bland Orton babyface nonsense.
And we need heel Orton back.
And he's done great with it.
Oh yeah, he has.
Okay, so then we had Becky against Lana.
And for those keeping up at home, this is match number 5. The only 5 matches of the whole night.
And most of them, I can't even remember all of them now, but I know that the Naomi Asuka tag team match was short. Yeah. This match was short. I don't know.
Well, that's right. There was 6 matches because I forgot the... Oh, no, that was Raw.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Okay, so then you had the Big E and Sheamus match, which was at least a decent length, I guess.
Yeah, it was a decent length.
But this one was quick. Becky schools Lana, beats her with the disarmor. And the whole crowd is chanting Milwaukee throughout this match. Like, they were so into that storyline. It was awesome. And you get Aiden, who's watching on television in the back, and the interviewer asks Aiden about it, and Aiden says that he has video evidence of Lana's night in Milwaukee, and that he's going to present it next week.
See, that makes me think we're going to have another Cena AJ Lee storyline.
I don't particularly remember that one.
Oh, guess somebody has some homework to do.
Yeah, but what I feel like will probably happen is that he'll have some sort of video of just like Lana walking into a hotel room or something, but it's indecisive sort of thing.
Well, that's all it was with Cena and AJ Lee. They had video of her walking into his hotel room when he answers the door.
Okay.
And that was it.
So, yeah, you kind of have it indecisive, but... Or maybe it could be something completely different. I don't know what they're building to.
Interesting to find out.
I'm not going to speculate too much because it'll just be fun to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I can't see him doing that same angle like Cena and AJ when it wasn't that great to begin with.
Yeah. So we had the main event here, which was set to be AJ Styles and Samoa Joe signing the contract for their Super Showdown match.
Yeah.
Paige and AJ make their way to the ring, and Paige introduces Samoa Joe, but no Joe is to be found. AJ starts cutting the promo that, of course he's not here, he's a coward, and, he says he'll probably try to attack me from behind, and he looks behind him, no Joe, and eventually Samoa Joe pops up on the Titantron, and he's doing a handheld sort of phone camera promo.
Yeah.
And AJ's just like, oh, there he is.
I found him.
Yeah, and Joe is just walking through a neighborhood, and he's cutting a promo on AJ, and he gets to what we've all been waiting for, where he shows up at AJ Styles' house. And do you know how we knew it was AJ Styles' house?
Could it be the big black mailbox that said Styles?
Yeah. Like it was straight out of the 1950s, where everyone had their name on their mailbox.
Yeah, or could it be because AJ said, hey, that's my mailbox?
And in even more 50s fashion, Joe even points out, oh, look at this nice white picket fence.
Yeah.
You've done pretty well for yourself here, AJ. And, AJ's acting here was questionable. I don't want to give him too much crap, but what he says into the mic, he's just like, oh, come on, dude. Yeah. Come on, bro, stop it.
Knowing this is a video and not like a two-way conversation.
Yeah.
But AJ's playing it off like it is.
Yeah, I think they wanted you to think that.
Yeah.
But
like they're on Skype or something.
Yeah, obviously it was a pre-tape. But Joe comes to the door, and he's still cutting the promo on AJ. And what I loved about this so much is that Samoa Joe is smiling ear to ear throughout this whole promo.
Yeah.
And it made me want to see a horror movie starring Samoa Joe, honestly.
Like See No Evil 3.
Please, no. Don't make it be a WWE film.
Oh.
Do like an actual horror film.
Oh, well, you didn't say that.
But Joe gets to the door, and, he says to Styles, that feeling that you're feeling right now, helpless and all that, that's how you're going to feel when I beat you for the WWE Championship at Super Showdown.
Yep.
And Samoa Joe just goes, should I just let myself in? And then he goes, no, that would be impolite.
Yeah.
I'll ring the doorbell.
Yeah. And then nothing.
And then he says, Daddy's home. And that's how we go off air.
I think it would have been great if AJ's wife would have just opened the door, slapped him, and shut the door.
Nah.
Just for comedic value.
This was so perfect.
Yeah,
because it ended on the heights of the emotional roller coaster, sort of. Because you don't see what happens after, you just see that Samoa Joe's entering AJ's house. And that was the perfect point to end this.
Yeah,
and
it was.
I'm curious how you follow up on it next week, because next week will be the go-home show to their match at Super Showdown. So I wonder what they're going to do, what they're going to say happens, if they're going to have any sort of video of it.
More than likely, they'll have a contract signing and fight in the ring.
That would be so lame after this. But
if you think about it, the same thing they did with Joe going to AJ's house, they kind of did the same thing with Triple H and Randy Orton years ago.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, how
when Triple H threw Randy through the window.
Yeah, Randy was actually at his house, though.
Yeah.
And they have his wife and kids there just looking scared.
Yeah.
But Triple H just beats down on Orton. And I remember he throws him through the window, and the cops show up.
Yeah, then they actually cops come and actually arrest him.
Yeah.
Back when everything looked real.
Yeah, back in the good
Attitude Era.
No, that was post Attitude Era.
Was it post?
Yeah, that was around 2007, I think.
I thought it was older than that.
Nah, it wasn't that old, because I remember watching it when it actually happened.
Oh yeah, so do I. That's why I just didn't think it would have been. I thought it was longer.
Yeah, but I wasn't watching live when it happened most of the Attitude Era.
Gotcha.
So that's how I know.
Well, there's the age difference. I've been watching since WrestleMania 1.
Yeah. So that was pretty much SmackDown, though. Top to bottom, I thought this was a really great show, and it didn't deliver as far as wrestling matches, which is unfortunate. That's the only thing that really kept this from being a fantastic show, was just one really good match. But all the angles they set up and everything in between there, it gives you reason to be excited for next week, which I think is the ultimate goal in any show. Yeah. So I thought it succeeded in that.
I really didn't think about it like that, but they only have a week and a half to really set up for another pay-per-view.
Yeah, right after Super Showdown.
They can't really have match after match and not set something up because there's no time.
Yeah, they have to work on the angles right now.
And I didn't think about that while I was watching SmackDown. Because that's why I put in my notes that there was way too many promos and video packages and such. But I didn't realize, I didn't think that, they've got the Super Showdown in just a week and a couple days, so they have to set everything up.
Yeah. And, they still could have done something better for a wrestling match, but, I can't complain about this. I thought this was a B-plus show.
Really?
Maybe an A-, really.
Wow. You see, I'm going to have to go C.
I think that's too low.
Well, I watch a wrestling show to watch wrestling.
Yeah, and
I don't watch a wrestling show to watch interviews.
Yeah, I get that. But everything delivered for me. And, I agree with you but for me, that was the only thing from holding it from being an A+ show, was just being that there wasn't a great wrestling match or anything like that.
Now, if they would have had, out of the 5 matches, if 2 of them would have been great, like showstopper matches, yeah, it'd be an A+ show.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like 2 or 3 squash matches out of 5 is ridiculous.
Yeah.